Hey guys, it is Red and Blue, and today it's actually Blood and Gold. Blood and Gold because those are the colors of the RC Lens. Lens, who's had a tremendous season in France this year. They're currently second in Ligue 1. They're currently qualified for the final of the French Cup. And yeah, they've been the sensation of French football all season, getting a few awards last night in the national French trophy of individual trophies of football. And so I thought, like, since we're playing them tomorrow, finally playing that game that was postponed, it'd be a good time to actually talk about RC Lens, bring you guys up to speed on what they've been doing, how they've been doing it, what's the story there. Obviously, we're heading into a summer transfer window, and I'm pretty sure that given the success that they've had, there's quite a few players that we're going to be hearing about. And also next year, they're already qualified for the Champions League. So even if you're not following Ligue 1, following French football day in, day out, it is a team that you should have on your radar screen for the next few years. And so I think the story with RC Lens first starts at the top. Let's start with their owner, Joseph Ougoyan, who owns the club and invests in the club and is generally managing the club very conservatively. He's investing his own money, and it really shows in terms of not making stupid decisions. He's not spending anyone else's money. He's really here to kind of do the best that he can with his club, to not only like get the football wins and the trophies on the pitch, but also like manage it as a business in a way that makes sense in the long term. And one of the things that really shows that is that obviously this year we have a lot of difficulties in France with the domestic TV rights. Essentially, like the club started the season with no visibility on what they were going to get from in terms of domestic TV rights, and so the French version of the financial fair play told all of the clubs that they could have some margins in their forecasts to account for the uncertainty. Lens decided to just input a zero for domestic TV rights and planned as if they weren't going to get anything. So that kind of gives you a sense of, hey, like we're not here to spend crazy money, we're not here to spend above our means, we're just here to try to do the best that we can with what we've got. And so they had a transfer summer window where they sold players for about 100 million euros and they only reinvested about 60. So they turn in a profit, they reduce the overall budget of the club as well, and they put themselves their house in order to make sure that they could stay competitive and still build in a way that was going to be sustainable for the next few years. What they did as well is that in terms of management, in terms of how the club is managed day in, day out, they really try to put the right people who have the DNA of Lens. Lens, if you're not familiar with it, it's a small town in the north of France, next to Lille. Historically, it's prime coal mining territory. It is really like a town of coal miners. Historically, they still have like the big artificial hills of ground that was taken from the mines. It's a symbol of the town. Obviously, the mines don't really exist anymore, but it's still like really the DNA of the region and the DNA of the club. It is blue collar territory. It is hard working. Put your head down and do what you have to territory. And so it's also like it's not a club for samba or like glitters and superstars and so on. That's really absolutely not the philosophy. And so inside the club, they found the people to manage that really knew and lived by this philosophy. And last summer, they instated Leka as their sporting director, who's a former Lens player who done like I think pretty much all of his career in Lens. He's really like a historical figure in the club, and he really knows all of this very well. They also last summer did a very important piece of business in putting in Pierre Sage as their coach. And Pierre Sage is not originally from Lens, but really like kind of mirrors this identity of hardworking, discreet, not really like a media darling or anything like this. Pierre Sage, initially for me, and I think for most people in France who follow football, the first time we heard about him, he was in Red Star. which is one of the clubs of the Paris area in the Paris suburbs, when they were in the third tier of French football international, so Ligue 1, Ligue 2 national, and he was in charge of youth development and working with Habib Bey, who's now the coach of Marseille, who was the coach of Red Star at the time, and the two of them working together managed to push Red Star to the second tier of French football. And generally playing some nice football and kind of starting to really have some attention and some enjoyment around Red Star for what they were doing. So that's when he started being on the radar screen of a lot of people. He moved to Lyon still to do youth development, and supposedly the story goes that when Textor was in Lyon, he was going around the grounds and kind of meeting with people and so on. And Pierre Sage was basically the only person who managed to speak to Textor in English. And so like that kind of stuck something with Textor, who noticed obviously they had conversations beyond just speaking English in terms of the football approach and so on. And Textor, it ultimately decided to push Pierre Sage as coach for the first team of Lyon, which was a huge move at the time. I remember it was coming a little bit out of nowhere. And Pierre Sage actually did really well in this position. I think he was in Lyon in this position for a year and a half, 2 years. In the end, he was pushed out because Textor wanted to change coach, and he had the new coach in mind already, and he kind of wanted it to happen anyway. So he took the excuse of a couple of iffy results just to make it happen. But Pierre Sage, even when he left Lyon, in general, everyone kind of agreed that he did a good job at it and that he was at the level. And so Lens getting their hands on him was a really, really interesting move, and, a bold one in a way, because outside of Lyon, he didn't really have that much experience, and one that's been paying off since then. Pierre Sage, in terms of tactics and in terms of his football, is not the most creative or flashy of coaches. In terms of tactics, he's playing a 3-4-3, so 3 central defenders, 2 central midfielders with 2 fullbacks, and then 2 false like number 10s, false 9s, second forward, whatever you want, and 1 pure number 9. And it's something that's worked really well for him. He's got a good squad of players who he's been really developing and really managing to get the best out of them. And so I think more than a pure tactician and someone who can, surprise with how he's setting up his team and so on, he's really someone who can extract the best out of his players and kind of develop them to give him what he needs from them. And that's really the reality of it. And he's been very well served right now by a mercato last summer, which has been absolutely spectacular. Honestly, like, I cannot say this enough. They had a mercato last summer, which is mind-blowing in terms of how well it worked out for them. They picked up, I think they've got 6 or 7 players in their starting 11 that they picked last summer, and literally all of them have been big successes. So it goes from their goalkeeper, Risser, who's a 20-year-old that they picked from Strasbourg, who was not playing in Strasbourg. They made him their starting goalkeepers, and it's like now it's basically like being talked about to play in the French national team. They picked up Mathieu Hudol, who was the captain of Metz, who had spent like his whole career in Metz, and like they picked him up to bring him to the next stage and so on, and he's been also talked about as a potential player for the French team for the World Cup. They picked up Baidou in central defense. I'm gonna open my notes so I can give you all of these, but yeah, like they picked up Baidou in central defense. Where is he? Samson Baidou from Salzburg. They picked him up for 8 million. He's been like 21-year-old, instant started. They picked up Mamadou Sangaré in midfield, who's an absolute beast in midfield. Malian player who's being compared to Seydou Keita. If you remember, Seydou Keita used to be a midfielder of Lens as well, Malian as well, who went on to play in Barcelona. So that's the kind of level that we are talking about. They picked him up for 8 million from Rapid Vienna. They picked up Florian Thauvin, who's a perennial French player, 32 years old. He's been around, he's seen it all. They picked him up for 6 million from Udinese, and he's been an absolute beast this season. He was actually talked about for the trophy of best player of Ligue 1 this season. They picked up Hudson Edouard from Crystal Palace, which was a transfer that wasn't meant to happen. Initially, they were going to pick up Sinayoko, who's the striker from Auxerre. Auxerre didn't really want to let him go for the budget that they had, so they turned around and went to pick Hudson Edouard from Crystal Palace. Who's right now like the best striker, like the best goal scorer, I guess, in the Lens team this season. So like yes, 12 goals in Ligue 1. Who else did they pick up? They picked up, oh yeah, another one which was really good. They picked up Saud Abdulhamid. So big up to the year. I know he's a big fan of him. On loan from Roma, and he's been there right back. And like 26, a player that really like no one, in fairness, no one knew about in Europe. No one was really paying that much attention to. Now he's slated to, if he stays in Lens beyond the end of the season, slated to become the first Saudi player to play in the Champions League. They picked up as well. Where is he? There was a last one, Alan Saint-Maximin as well, a guy who's been all around Ligue 1 for a long time, on a free transfer from America in Mexico, where he had gone. So really, like, overall, a lot of very smart pieces of business. And if you compare with the players that they lost Kevin Danso to Tottenham, and so they lose Kevin Danso for 20 million. Boom, they bring Samson Baidu from Salzburg for 8. They lost Andy Diouf to Inter for 20 million. Boom, they bring Mamadou Sangare from Rapid Vienna for 8. So it's really smart pieces of business like this. All of this is players that fell into place within the structure of the team from Pierre Sage, and all of a sudden, all of the pieces click together. And Lens overall, they had a spectacular season. Honestly, they're the top team right now in terms of the the Ligue 1 rankings for the games played at home. They literally like they scored more points at home than PSG did. Which gives you a sense. I think to this point, so they still have the game against us to play. So they've played 16 games, and I think they've got 14 wins and 2 defeats. So spectacular stuff, honestly, spectacular stuff. Away from home, it's a little bit more difficult, but they're still third in Ligue 1. Overall, they've been very well balanced. So they are the second best defense after us. They are the second best attack after us. So it's not, it's not a super defensive team like we sometimes see in Ligue 1. It's not a flashy offensive team either. It's really a team that's about structure, that's about like knowing what they do and how they do it and doing it well, and really extracting the best out of their group of players. It's been spectacular. They kept up with us in Ligue 1 for most of the season. They kind of dropped in recent week, following a Lens against their local rival in Lille. They've had a couple of draws after that, and so essentially dropped a few points, which really allowed us for the first time to open up a lead and kind of capitalize on it. They're in the final of the French Cup, though, which is really a trophy that they are now the favorite for, and I do hope that they win it, actually. And so, yeah, so a lot of positive for Lens, and ultimately, it's also a team that's bolstered by a great fan base. The fans are absolute magic, honestly, like big respect for them. They're one of the top fan base in France. I think their stadium has been full for the last 88 games in a row, and they've got like a 40,000 seaters, and Lens, which is basically the size of the town of Lens. So it's really insane. The atmosphere is, yeah, like really magical. It's one of those grounds where the experience is great. And so now they've officially qualified for the Champions League next season. We're gonna have to see what they do over the summer. Do they manage to hang on to all of the players that delivered big times this season, because they're gonna be playing in the Champions League? But yeah, player like Baidu, player like Sangare, it's gonna be really hard to not see them go somewhere. if they can keep their record of very, very smart recruiting, they might even be better for it, who knows? But, definitely a team that's been performing really well on the pitch. I think that's great, and I think, kudos to them, because it's not an easy thing to do at all. But the thing that's more impressive, especially in the context of French football, honestly, is that it's a club that's been smart and working well as a club. Not just like the team on the pitch, not just like stringing together a series of wins, we're not quite sure how. It's like all the way from the top to the fans, the environment, the squad, the staff, and so on. Everything came together in the right way. So we'll see how long it lasts. Next season with Champions League as well, it might get rough with them having more games to play and so on. But it's also gonna give them more financial firepower. It's a team to keep an eye on. Honestly, like it's a team to keep an eye on. There's lots of talented players, so really interesting one. And so PSG, we're playing them tomorrow night in Lens, in what should have been the final of the French league. Now we've essentially won the title, so it's not a game that matters as much. For us, we're really focused on the final of the Champions League. For them, they're focused on the final of the French Cup. At the same time, there's bragging rights involved, so I think like both of us want to get the win. And so it should be a really good game. Honestly, really interesting, really good game. And a big atmosphere, Lens. A big atmosphere always. So anyways, this is what I had for you guys on this Lens fairy tale story of a season, really, in the north. The king in the north of France for this season. Sorry for any Lille fan. And yeah, a team that's had a fantastic season, really fully deserves it, and a team to watch in the coming year. So anyway, let me know what you think of this Lens team. What did you make of their season? Have you been following it? Did I share any information that you didn't know about? And yeah, like let me know all of those things in the comment. As always, please leave a like on the video if you've made it this far. Subscribe to the channel for PSG news, French football news, all of the content that it fits in English on YouTube. And don't forget, as always, ici c'est Paris!